Hi, hello. Today we are going to learn about the Prime Ministers of India. See, it will be having comprehensive revision notes and the key architecture eras since the year 1947 to the present. So, firstly, the timeline and the era of the overview. Okay, we'll start from here. In the year 19, sorry, just a minute. The year 1947 to 1966. It was the early republic period. See, it is focused on the intensely on fundamental nation building, post-partition recovery, structuring democratic socialism, and managing early regional national security crisis. See, you may clearly see here that there was they actually for getting the independence and the freedom we have to fight as the Britishers. We were in the hands of the Britishers for the 200 years. It was very difficult for us, and after the huge wars and different kinds of things and waging wars, the different types of things like Swadeshi movements and Dandi March, etc., all the things we had come over, and at last we got these things. Also, one of our greatest leader, Subhash Chandra Bose, he was also one of the great person who has sacrificed his life. See, mostly they'll say that he isn't died. Actually, there also came movie named Spy also. I think you know, see, we can't clearly state, but few people say he is dead and few people say that he is not dead. And next we are coming to the 1966 to 1989, this timeline. It was the development era for our nation. It dominated by agrarian breakthroughs via the Green Revolution, strategic nationalization of infrastructure or banks, and India's initial technology and telecom blueprint expansion. See, telecom means it mostly comes with our mobile phones due to the see without the telecom industry we cannot use our mobile phones for the speaking for contacting with other people, and also the main things from the year 1984 to 2014 it came the coalition years and liberalization. It defined by dynamic multi-party coalition politics in the historic economic pivot, dismantling the restrictive license Raj in favor of the global infrastructure. So now we are coming to the next one is of the year 2014 to the present time. It states it is the modern and digital India period. It is driven by deep tech stack transformation, massive fiscal and digital infrastructure scale, and assertive global diplomacy, repositioning India on the world stage. So next it comes the detailed profiles of Indian leaders. So the first Prime Minister of our India was Dr. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru. He had the time span of the timeline of his position was the year 1947 to the year 1964. The blueprint was the India. He was considered as India's longest serving Prime Minister, and he served as the chief institutional architect of the sovereign democratic republic. The core policy was prioritized heavy industrialization, state-led scientific research, and an independent foreign policy framework. The major milestone was he founded India's crowning educational pillars. Crowning educational pillars. Sorry, he founded India's crowning educational pillars, directly establishing the IITs, IIMs, and the AIIMS. As we all know, IIT is one of the educational institution. IIT stands for Indian Institute of Technology. See, the many people who are having the education, who are pursuing the education, they are considered to be the toppers, but we don't know exactly. So let's leave it. So next we are going to the Lal Bahadur Shastri, who was considered as the second Prime Minister of our India. His time span was the year 1964 to 1966. The blueprint was he is remembered and revered for his unyielding moral integrity, simple living, and high administrative resolves. The core policy was he led the nation through the complex of the year 1965 Indo-Pak War and pivoted domestic focus towards grassroots self-reliance. The major milestone of Lal Bahadur Shastri he immortalized the guiding slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, which means Jai Jawan are the great soldiers. And next, the great farmers. See, without these two people, we aren't even exist in a form. While fueling the white revolution to transform India's dairy sector. So next comes are Indira Gandhi from the year 1966 to 1977, and she also became the prime minister in the years 1980 to 1984. The blueprint of her was she was considered as India's first only female prime minister and globally recognized for her centralizing authority and uncompromising leadership. The core policy of Indira Gandhi was she spearheaded assertive national defense, managed the geopolitical crisis of the year 1971, leading to the creation of Bangladesh. Her major milestone was orchestrated the Green Revolution, executed bank nationalization, and authorized the Pokhran 1 nuclear test. Pokhran 1 nuclear test was considered to be one of the greatest nuclear tests which happened in India, and it was led by the greatest missile man of India. Moraji Desai and Charan Singh. Their timeline was the year 1977 to 1980. In a manner, it is said they were the acting PMs. Acting PMs, that means in case if there is no PM in a trade show at that time, we uses a person or persons as acting PMs. The Moraji Desai made history as India's first non-Congress Prime Minister, focusing heavily on the reversing emergency era constitutional amendments. Charan Singh, a pioneering voice for agrarian reform who dedicated his brief premiership entirely to advocating the peasants' rights and rural credit structures. And next here comes Rajiv Gandhi from the year 1984 to 1989. It is approximately the 5 years. So the blueprint was the assumed office as India's youngest prime minister, injecting a rationalist perspective into conventional governance. The core policy was he pushed economic modernization, expanded telecommunications access, and championed structural decentralization. The major milestone was he initiated India's monumental digital, telecom, and IT revolutions while producing the framework for the historic Panchayati Raj reforms. He was he died in his bodyguard's hands due to a human bomb, also considered as a belt bomb. P.V. Narasimha Rao, oh, one of the finest one. His timeline was 1991 to 1996 as serving as a Prime Minister of our India. The blueprint of his was he recognized the structural legacy as the father of India economic reforms. The core policy was he was the mastermind in the liquidization of the legacy license Raj to extract India from a devastating balance of payments crisis. The major milestone of P.V. Narasimha Rao was successfully institutionalized LPG, liberalization, privatization, globalization, alongside Dr. Manmohan Singh, and engineered the proactive Look East strategic doctrine. Here comes our Atal Bihari Vajpayee. He served as the Prime Minister for two times. One is of the acting for 14 days, and another, there's a time in 1998 to 2004. The blueprint of him was he was a masterful statesman, legendary orator, and poet who successfully maneuvered India's first fully enduring multi-party coalition. The core policy was he focused heavily on structural connectivity, market privatization, universal literacy, and robust defense. The major milestone of Atal Bihari Vajpayee is he commanded the Pokhran 2 thermonuclear tests, rolled out the sprawling Golden Quadrilateral Highway Network, launched Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, and directed victory in the year 1999 in the Kargil War. See Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan that states that every person should get the education. It might be of the any caste, race, religion, region, anything. And next here comes our P.P. Singh, H.D. Devagowda, and I.K. Gujral. The timeline was the 1989 to 1998. P.P. Singh, He was the advanced social equity politics significantly by implementing the landmark Mandal Commission recommendations. H.D. Devegowda focused on systematic regional agrarian interests and agricultural infrastructure expansion. I.K. Gujral, he authored the widely respected Gujral doctrine establishing non-reciprocal cooperative terms with neighboring South Asian states. Here comes Dr. Manmohan Singh. His timeline was the year 2004 to 2014. The blueprint of him was a world-class economist who governed for a decade, balancing high percentage GDP acceleration with comprehensive welfare delivery. Core policy was economically formalization coupled with highly structured rights-based legislative guarantees. The major milestone was he executed the paradigm-shifting Indo-US Civil Nuclear Agreement, instituted the Right to Information (RTI) Act, and deployed the massive MGNREGA Rural Employment Safety Net. See, the RTI Act, it is one of the famous and one of the a type of the power tool which is given to the common man or any person that states that any person can get the information of the government with this RTI Act. And the MGNREGA, that means it stands for Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act. It is one of the act which is given to the poor people for earning of some money. The money would be provided by the government itself. And next here comes Sri Narendra Modi. The timeline was from the 2014 to the present. He is the leading with the transformational development philosophy centered around achieving a fully developed nation status, Viksit Bharat. The core policy benefit tech transfers, deep multi-sector domestic manufacturing skills, massive infrastructure pipelines, and a highly visible global footprint. A major milestone is implemented country-wide structural revolutions via Digital India, Unified Payments Interface, UPA, Swachh Bharat, and the comprehensive Atmanirbhar Bharat Self-Reliance Program.